Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Today, I read an article on CNBC.com written by Annie Nova titled, "Here's what student loan borrowers need to know about the 12-month on-ramp period." I'll include a link to the article in the description below. I encourage you to read the full article to support the author and news source. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of this article that are of public interest. According to the article, federal student loan bills resumed this month after a pause of more than 3 years. Yet, some borrowers may not plan on making a payment for some time. That's because the Biden administration has announced a 12-month on-ramp to repayment, during which borrowers will be shielded from most of the consequences of falling behind. The relief period is set to expire September 30th, 2024. The only consequence that borrowers have to worry about until September 30th, 2024 is interest accruing. During the past 3.5 years, student loan borrowers haven't had to worry about making a payment, and they haven't had to worry about interest accruing. Now the game has changed. Interest is starting to accrue. Payments are due this month, yet many borrowers will likely choose not to make a payment because of Biden's on-ramp period. If people have no penalty other than interest accruing, why would they worry about making a payment? There are some everyday Americans that don't care about interest accruing. They are frustrated because their student loans didn't get forgiven. Some of these people don't want to even think about their student loans. They have better things to worry about in their life right now that are more fun. I'm telling you, there are some people who simply want to pretend that their student loans don't exist. I was hanging out with a bunch of individuals once, and one of the guys kept talking about his invisible Mercedes. I thought to myself, what is he talking about? So I asked him, what is an invisible Mercedes? He said he owes over $100,000 in student loans. He said he could purchase a Mercedes for approximately $100,000. Yet, he doesn't own one. He simply owes over $100,000 on his student loans. He doesn't like to think about those student loans. For him, it's simply easier to call his student loans his invisible Mercedes. I thought to myself, this guy has some very interesting logic here. He told me he has no idea how he is ever going to pay off his student loans. He's hoping that his wealthy grandfather will pass away and leave him a sizable inheritance that he will be able to use to pay off his student loan debt. This is not the first time I have heard this type of thing. I have talked to a lot of people that are banking on a sizable inheritance from their parents or their grandparents at some point in their life. They're hoping that this money will come to their rescue. Getting back to this article, there is a section with a heading titled, "Do I have to do anything to apply for the relief?" The article indicates borrowers do not need to enroll in the on-ramp period, the U.S. Department of Education says. If your loans were eligible for the pandemic-era pause, which mainly included those in the direct program, then they'll also qualify for this grace period of sorts. In my opinion, this is a good thing because a lot of people grew far too comfortable not having to make this student loan payment in the past 3.5 years. Some people went out and purchased things that they probably should not have bought. Some people went out, got a new car, they now have a large vehicle payment, and they do not have the means to be able to service these student loan payments. Think for a moment about all of the individuals who graduated from college during the past 3.5 years. During the past 3.5 years, these people haven't had to worry about making a student loan payment. Life may have been pretty good for some of these people. Well, life is about to get real. Some of these individuals don't know what it is like to have to make a student loan payment every single month for decades to come. This really could impact the lifestyle of some young people. This article goes on in a section titled, "Will interest continue to accrue on my debt?" Yes, interest began accruing on federal student loans September 1st. In my opinion, the smart people threw as much money as they could at their student loans during the past 3.5 years while interest was not accruing. I have heard stories about some individuals who threw a lot of money toward their student loans and were successful with getting them paid off. I commend these people for making personal sacrifices during the past 3.5 years and doing what was necessary to pay their student loan debt off. I also commend the individuals who have resumed making their student loan payments right now, even though they don't need to under Biden's on-ramp program. The smart people are making their student loan payments because they know that interest is accruing on their debt and they want to pay off these student loans as quick as possible so they are not wasting all of this money on interest. I am sure that there will be a lot of everyday Americans that will not make any student loan payments until the on-ramp period ends on September 30th, 2024. I truly believe a lot of these people will wait until the very last minute until they are forced to make a student loan payment. It's human nature for many individuals. Think about all of the people that you likely knew in high school or in college who waited until the very last minute to study for a test, or waited until the very last minute to do their homework. I was talking with a friend of mine recently who has an adult son who is a college student, yet his son lives at home and completes online coursework. His son was supposed to be doing his homework. My friend walked into his room around 11 o'clock in the evening and his son was playing video games. He asked his son, "What are you doing? I thought you had homework to do." His son said, "Oh, I have until midnight to get that homework done." He said, "Are you crazy? You have less than an hour to get this homework done and you haven't even started it yet. You don't even know how hard this homework is. You don't know how much time it might take. Why in the world would you wait until the last minute to start this homework?" His son didn't seem to be concerned. He was having fun playing his video game. I am sure there are people that have this mentality who are not going to resume making student loan payments until they have to. Many will wait until after September 30th, 2024. This article goes on in a section titled, "Are there any consequences to not making payments?" and indicates, besides the accrual of interest, experts say there are unlikely to be consequences of not making payments during the on-ramp period. In my opinion, this is a bad move. People have had 3.5 years to get ready for making these student loan payments. It's time to pay up. It's time to get back on the horse. It is time to stop wasting money on avocado toast and expensive lattes at the drive-thru. Buckle down and make your student loan payments. People need to do the responsible thing. People need to avoid throwing away a lot of money on interest. People really need to resume making these student loan payments and throwing extra money toward their student loans if possible. Please understand, I'm not trying to criticize people who are not making their student loan payments. I'm trying to provide information to these individuals so they understand the importance of making these student loan payments so they don't have all of this debt hanging over their head for decades to come. It bothers me that some people retire and still have student loan debt. Prior to the pandemic, there were individuals who were retired, who were delinquent on their student loans, who were having their Social Security checks garnished. I don't want this for anyone. People need to take this situation seriously. People need to resume making their student loan payments and get rid of this debt as quickly as possible. For individuals with student loan debt, you may have to forego some niceties in life. You may need to stop driving that expensive leased vehicle. You may need to get a clunker instead. You may need to get rid of some streaming services and just watch the Edward Ph.D. program on YouTube for free. You may need to forego the vacations that you have been planning so that you can afford to make your student loan payments. In my opinion, this is the smart thing to do. This article goes on in a section titled, "Should I Make Payments or Not?" If you can afford to make your student loan payments, most experts recommend that you do so to avoid ending up with a larger bill when the on-ramp period ends. I 100% agree. Avoid giving away more money in interest. Get these student loans paid off as soon as possible. Stop dreaming about the government forgiving all of your student loans. It is highly unlikely to happen. But what do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. What do you think about all this? Do you know people with a mountain of student loan debt? Are they resuming making their student loan payments, or are they kicking the can down the road until after September 30th, 2024, when Biden's on-ramp period ends? Let me know about it in the comments section below. Please keep in mind, nothing in this video is financial advice. If you need advice of any kind, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I also want to thank all of my channel members. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.